Continuing what's going on with Burn Nation, we have a great burn story that Devin's going to
I actually want Ansley to share this because Ansley got an opportunity to talk to her. So introduce her and then I'll elaborate.
Hold on, let me get my eyes on.
You got this, Ans.
Okay. So Maegan is a member at Burn Brazelton in Georgia. And y'all, when I say that this story gave me chills from the minute we went live to when we did our 2 claps, you hear a lot of members talk about how Burn has, saved their lives. Mm-hmm. It's their community, it's their friendships, it's their, it's gotten them into a better place with their body and their nutrition. But this story is actually about Burn Boot Camp literally saving her life. Mm-hmm. Maegan was on Halloween in 2022, was involved in a really horrific golf cart accident with her family, husband, children. The accident was, it was something that happened very quickly. And when the golf cart rolled and her family was thrown from it, it landed on top of her. It landed specifically on top of her humerus and broke it clean in half. Wow. When they pulled the golf cart off of her and rushed her into the hospital for emergency surgery, she, by the grace of God, made it through. And afterwards, her doctor said, with so much confidence, that if Maegan had not had the amount of muscle mass in her arm, that the bone would have been a compound fracture, which means it would have gone through the skin, and where it was located was on an artery.
Mm.
Wow.
And if that bone had gone through that artery, Maegan would have bled out right there on the sidewalk in front of her children and her husband. So when she said it literally saved my life.
Wow. That just gave me chills.
I know. Yeah. I mean, she got very emotional in our podcast. It's podcast number 360 if you want to go back and listen to it. Very emotional about how grateful, obviously, the sheer gratitude she has for her community and for this fitness product that allowed her to make it through one of the most traumatic moments in her life. And then what ensued was her community at Brazelton, just everybody came rushing in. They hired people to clean her house. They cooked her meals. They washed her hair. They took her kids to the park so that she could rest and she could heal. Her trainers have modified all of her workouts so that she can come back with one arm.
Yeah.
And she's doing modified stuff, but she's there on the floor.
Yeah.
And she talked about how much it means to her to have this incredible community that really surrounded her and lifted her up. And we know that happens in every single one of our locations, but it was just such a hyper focus of what you all have created, what we create from an HQ standpoint, but also from what each individual location creates. It's just such a strong third place where people just come to each other's rescue.
Yeah.
And it was just an incredible story.
Yeah, I talked about that a little bit in the Atheltech interview, just the community that shows up. And I think what's also really unique about this story is that she wasn't able to compete in the level up games.
Yes.
And so her husband did it for her.
Shout out to David, her husband.
So I don't know if you had any more to tell about that.
Well, she was at, had signed up for the level up games. She was at camp number 240. Her goal was 250 when the accident happened.
Oh.
So the level up games were, I think, a matter of weeks away after the accident. And her husband, unbeknownst to her, joined up with her trainers and started training. Now, she made a special point to say, my husband works out, but he didn't work out at Burn.
There's a difference.
There's a difference, folks. So when he started training, he got in there and he went in her place in the level up games. You can imagine the crowd rooting for this guy. And there's footage of it. It's unbelievable, like heart swell, tears. He did the very best that he could. He absolutely crushed it. He showed up for her. And again, in that episode, she gets really emotional talking about how much that meant to her and her kids to see her husband understand what Burn Boot Camp means to her.
Yeah.
And to step into that role for her. And she's, when we talked, this was a month ago, she was already on her way to 50 camps this year.
I bet she was.
Oh,
yeah. And I bet she'll compete at the Love
Oh,
Cup
yeah.
games this year.
Without question. There's
Yeah.
nothing that this woman can't do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I want to cry for that, but we're going to keep moving.
We're going to share a burn story from someone in Burn Nation on every HQ Crew episode, everybody. So if you have any stories out there that you think would be something that would be inspiring, motivating, empowering to the community, please submit it to us. You can do that on Instagram, on YouTube, anywhere. We'll find it. You submit it, any Burn Boot Camp property, and we'll definitely find it and bring it to the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Maegan, for sharing that.
Yes.
Yeah, she
Again,
was cool.
episode 360, if you guys want to go read that.
We'll put
full
that in the
story.
show notes too,
Yeah.
the episode, just for your reference.
Yep.